What's up, guys? This is Alex Chu coming at you with another episode. But this episode, I'm going to present you 3 videos of interesting dating first dates, interesting first date stories. Okay, you know, they dated somebody and it went wrong or it went horrible, or it was funny or something. 3 videos. Okay. But before I talk about these 3 videos, I'm going to tell you, my name is Alex Chu. I'm the guy who invented physical mortality rings. These are rings that you put on your small fingers. You become physically immortal. You don't age anymore. For example, I'm already 52. Look at my waist. See? Still very skinny, right? I don't have any beer belly or anything. If you go to my website, livemuchlonger.com, I have lots of testimonials from Amazon customers. Most of them give me 4-star, 5 stars. If you're interested, go to livemuchlonger.com, livemuchlonger.com. Link is at the bottom of this video. But anyway, here's 3 videos that I want to present you. And one thing good about my video reviews is that I don't say anything, okay? I'm going to give you the links. If you want to find these people, for example, if you see this video, oh, she's a cute girl, I want to date her. But, you know, a lot of these other video reviews, they don't give you the link. They don't tell you who this girl is, you know? Like, where do you find her? I always give you the link, okay? At the bottom of this video, you could find where I downloaded these videos, okay? Like on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, wherever. I'll give you the links, okay? But anyway, enjoy these videos.
Here's why you should always look up the guy you're going on a date with before you go on the date. One time I was out with my friends and I see this guy, really cute, looking at me. He ends up coming up to me and he asks me to go to dinner. Go to this great dinner. He's asking me a ton of like get to know you questions. He asked me what my job is. I'm a photographer. It's like, oh wow, that's so cool. Just to see my work, etc. As the dinner went on, he started to ask me more questions where I felt like he already knew the answer to. So I'm like, maybe he just looked me up on Instagram before or whatever. I go home and I'm FaceTiming with my best friend and I'm telling her about the date and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look him up now. So I find his Instagram and as soon as I see the username, my stomach sinks. I'm like, I've seen this username before. I click on the messages. He has messaged me like 45 times in the past 5 years, responding to stories about my photography, my friends, everything he asked me questions about like he didn't know the answer to. I don't know why he couldn't just tell me that he was following me before, but I got super creeped out.
I needed to come somewhere and share my worst date in my history of 31 years of living. This date took the cake. So it was our 3rd date. The first 2 were amazing. Like, I was smitten with this guy. He checked all of my boxes. I was like, yep, he could be the one. Anyway, on our 3rd date, he invited me to this charity event. And he sent me a link for it, but didn't tell me anything else about it. Didn't tell me who was going to be there. And I was like, you know, keep an open mind. I don't know what to expect. I'm like, up for anything. So he picks me up from the train station. This event is like way over the other side of the city, so he like picks me up halfway, and he's like really nice in the car, telling me about like, you know, his week, and he's being a bit flirty, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. We get to the car park, we're walking over to the venue, I link my arm around his. This man leaps back, literally brushes me off, and was like, oh, do you mind if we just chill for a minute? Don't want to walk in holding hands. Ha. My stomach dropped, because I was like, I've never had him talk like that before. Like, what? So he charges ahead of me into the venue, and it's the kind of venue you have to sign in. So I'm like still signing in, because he's gone ahead of me, whatever. He leaves me at the door to rush over to say hello to his ex-girlfriend. I didn't know that I was meeting his ex that night. Like, I'm really close with my ex, but I would always give a fucking heads up. Anyway, so I toddled over and I get introduced to them, and he introduces me to one other person, and then this man scoots over to the other side of the room. I do not see him for like 45 minutes to an hour, and for most of that time he's at the bar with his ex. And I was awkwardly trying to make conversation with these people. They're like, oh, how did you know about this event? I'm like, oh, I'm with so-and-so on a date. It was really awkward. And I was like, I can hold my own in a room, right? So I was trying hard to, like, make connections with these people. And they were lovely, but, like, I really had to try because I had no other choice. Anyway, eventually I go over to this guy. He's at the bar still, but like talking to another guy. And I heard the last few words of what they were saying, and they were talking about Hinge. And he looks at me as if I'm interrupting, looks at the guy so guilty, and is like, Oh, better not keep talking about that. I end up helping this guy who was talking to, who's recently divorced after 11 years. End up helping him with his Hinge profile. You're gonna have to go to a part 2.
Okay, I am sorry that part 2 is taking so long, but honestly, I felt so uncomfortable that a lot of this is blocked out of my brain. I feel like I blacked out. Like, I can't remember everything. So I've been sitting here trying to take notes to remember as much as possible so I could share as many details as possible. But there's definitely a lot that I'm forgetting. I might have to go on to part 3 because I feel like I'll have to explain certain things. But let's see what I can remember. So off the bat, exactly what you expected. There's no substance to him. He repeats the same shit over and over and over. All he wanted to talk about was how hot I am, how beautiful I am, which, like, thank you, but also no fucking thank you, because I'm not flattered at this point. I feel very uncomfortable. Like, you're creeping me out. How many times all you want to talk about is my looks and the idea of touching me? Like, he said something like, I just want to hug you. And he did something like that with his arms. And I was like, what? Like, we're sitting at a restaurant and like we're eating, we're talking, like, I'm just like, it came out of nowhere. So I don't remember exactly what I said to that. I think I might have just said, like, where did that come from? And then he's like, I want to kiss you. And he, like, looked away and said that. And I was like, what? He's like, nothing. I'm like, did you just say you want to kiss me? Like, what? I'm so, like, perplexed where this is like all he wanted to talk about was how I looked or him wanting to hug me or kiss me or things like that. So I told him, like, don't even get that idea in your head, because that's not even, like, I'm not even thinking that, like, at all, and there's no potential for that at this point in time. And so he was like, doesn't that get old though? And I'm like, doesn't what get old? He's like, that gets unattractive at a point, that persona. So I'm like, what persona? He's like, that whole thing. So I said, what? Having, like, boundaries, self-respect, like, what part of that gets old or gets unattractive? He's like, no, that's not, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I genuinely don't know what you're talking about. This is our first date, our first time meeting, and I'm telling you to stop telling me you want to touch me and kiss me. That gets unattractive to you? Like, you're unattractive to me. Like, I literally was like, what is going on? So I kept trying to change the conversation to talk about anything other than me and his attraction to me. And anything that I would say wasn't registering in his head. So he kept saying, what? Like, any topic that I tried to bring up, I had to explain myself. He was like, what? What do you mean? Like, he was not, like, there was no substance there and no conversations were flowing. I'm gonna have to go on to a part 3.